Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here. Grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, guys. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe. Leave the video a like, leave me a comment, and share it with somebody who might get something out of it. And other than that, guys, the Just for Today and the meditation we're going to get back to today because it's great. It's perfect. It's actually very important. And I'm expanding way upon it, but anyway. A sense of humor. We find that when we lose self-obsession, we are able to understand what it means to be happy, joyous, and free. Life on life's terms can be anything but funny, but if we keep a sense of humor about us, the things that might overwhelm us can be made bearable. How often have we allowed ourselves to be overwhelmed by incidents that, taken with a bit of humor, are not all that intolerable? When we become annoyed with people and events, a search for humor in the situation can put things in a brighter perspective. An ability to find humor in difficult situations is a gift to develop. Guys, that's huge. I mean, and I'm going to expand greatly upon that because this is a big thing. Just for today, I will look for the humor in adversity. When I make mistakes, I will find a way to laugh at the humor in my imperfections, guys. And something, guys, we're gonna go into something that something I read one night that meant so much to me, and I say this all the time, guys. No amount of anxiety will change the future. No amount of remorse will change the past, but the littlest bit of gratitude will change the present. Okay? And that's something I live by today, guys. It's huge. Guys, stress kills. And it's useless. I mean, the Serenity Prayer sums up so well. Figuring out the things we can, the strength, the courage to change the things we can, the wisdom, the wisdom to know, to accept the things we cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sorry, guys, I blew that one hard. Anyway, you know where I'm going with that. Guys, one thing I don't do is I don't let myself get overwhelmed by things, right? As a matter of fact, I've literally taken things to another level, and I don't expect everybody to just, to follow my philosophy, although I gotta say it's working really well for me. And again, find your own path. But so oftentimes we get so stuck on our own, own expectations that may not be even remotely reasonable, right? What I found is if you make a conscious choice to develop a relationship with your higher power, and then just to do the absolute very best with what you have every day, challenge yourself to step up and be a better person every day. And then release the expectations of how you think things need to go. Because that's the thing, guys. I always thought I had all the answers, and I was so goddamn wrong. It was ridiculous. But I've challenged myself to just put it into God's hands, and knowing full well that I was limiting myself in so many ways. And I'm still just figuring things out. But guys, by doing so, opportunities that are mind-boggling and almost scary at times because they're so far in my comfort zone, but I don't let that scare me because I understand that that's what leads to growth, and I've been willing to do so. And because of that, I've made the most amazing drastic changes in my life in such a short period of time, and it's absolutely huge. And I'll tell you, this weekend was a huge thing for me. I'm still home recovering from surgery. I was actually able to go out and do a little bit of work today, but I didn't lift anything, and that's the biggest thing, guys. Is I run the serious risk of a hernia. I've got 4 holes in my stomach. If I lift anything over 10 pounds, I could pop something through the muscle, through the hole in the muscle. And for once in my life, I'm taking that serious, and that's the other beauty of not taking the narcotics, guys. I'm doing so incredibly well. I'm finally eating, pretty much back to eating regular food, and therefore I can take the Motrin and Tylenol together on a little more of a regular schedule. And again, I've cut it way back. I don't need what they think, what they've prescribed me. And because I'm listening to my body, I'm healing really well, and I'm feeling really good. I don't have a fraction of the pain. It's amazing to me that I had surgery 3 days ago, and I'm not taking any pain meds, and I feel incredible. I could probably go, in the past, I would have gone back to work already because I'd say, oh, I'm strong enough to go and do it. I'll take a couple extras, and then I'd end up doing damage to myself. I end up pulling a hernia and end up back in the hospital. Say I don't have to do that. And guys, because I have chosen to rise above and have a better attitude, this is where the opportunities come from, guys. My friend Doug called me this morning, and it just so happens, and again, I give this to God. These supernatural things that keep happening in my life are just too aligned to be anything else. all of a sudden, at a moment's notice, Doug's office manager let him know that she had an opportunity to go to Block Island for the next 10 days and she will not be able to run his office, and he's down in Florida. And he's like, what the hell? So he called me this morning. He goes, listen, how long are you supposed to be on light duty? I said, well, at least another week. He goes, fantastic. Do your estimates and running around and stuff you can, but you can run my office and I'll pay you your service fee to to pay bills and answer phone calls and get the mail and print out invoices and just do basic administrative work. Guys, that's a gift, and no other time in my life would, first of all, would he trust me with his checkbook. I mean, the guy's literally a multi-millionaire, right? But he knows that he can do that today. I'm not, there's nothing to worry about. Matter of fact, I'll be writing myself a couple of checks per him. And that's the beauty today, guys. And it's because people want to collaborate with me today, because I've chosen not to let stress overwhelm me. Like, I could have sat there, and as a matter of fact, it's funny, I was having a conversation with my recovery advisor this morning. And she, we had our regular meeting, and she said, what's going on? I said, well, I'm healing best I can. She goes, oh, that doesn't sound like you. I said, well, yeah, there's something behind that. And I explained the whole situation with the appendix, and when I explained to her that I had this newfound sense of confidence, and that it really, gave me a stability in my comfort of my willingness to advocate for myself and prove to myself that I'm really, I don't want to go backwards, that I, even being offered, not even offered, but being told by medical professionals that I needed to take drugs, I still refused, and I still made them try and argue, try to, politely explain to me why it was necessary if they were going to get me to take him, and I refused to take him because they didn't have a good argument that was willing. Guys, and a part of it was proving to myself that this recovery is serious and that I don't want to use drugs and I don't want to go backwards, and part of it was that, and the reason I share this is somebody else might be going through this, guys. I don't know how my brain would react once those opiates hit the receptors in my brain. For all I know, that monster switch could be flipped back on, and I can't have that today. I can't have that today. I understand that I carry that gene, and I will always have that possibility. And so long as I know that, and I can make a good decision and say, whoa, like, I can handle the pain. It's the idea of losing what I'm building, this new life that I'm loving so incredibly much, is so much scarier than just dealing with a little bit of discomfort. And it wasn't that bad. And guys, in all honesty, try Motrin and Tylenol together for pain. It works so much better than any drug I've ever been given. And I'm telling you, like, when I let it go too far, I get up and I'm like, oh, okay, I feel a little discomfort again. Go grab a couple of Motrin, a couple of Tylenol, and 20 minutes later, I'm feeling great again. And that's the other thing. I'm not trying to over-medicate myself, because I understand I need to feel the pain in my body so that I know where my level is. So I know where my level of healing is, so I can understand the level of exercise that I can do. And I'm not going to push my luck. It's killing me to stay out of the gym. I want to be back in the gym so bad. It's my it's my favorite hobby. But I also understand that, if I pop a hernia, it's going to set me way, way back. So I'm going to be patient. And then I look at the opportunities that God's putting in my lap. I get the opportunity to run the office for the next 10 days and get paid for it and not even lose. And again, I've saved enough money that I could take the time off. But there's no need of that when all of a sudden I get the opportunity to step in the administrative role of the office and not have to lift anything heavy, not risk injury to myself, and then still make money while I'm sitting there. And these are all things that are happening because I'm alive. And a big part of that is because of my sense of humor. I choose to put myself out there and be vulnerable and use my story in the funniest, lightest way possible to show people what's possible. And people are loving that. They're responding incredibly well to it. So let me see if I can lighten this up a little, guys. That's all right. Sorry. Yeah, just leave it alone. And guys, and by doing so, I've literally removed my limiting beliefs and just lack of self-worth from the equation, and in doing so, I've rewired my brain to now look at myself in the highest, best light possible, which is incredibly possible, because I can't reach the levels that I want to get to if I don't believe that I'm worthy and deserving of being there. And in all honesty, guys, I've come to understand that I damn well deserve to be there. I've worked my ass off my entire life. I've always made good decisions as best I possibly could given my circumstances. And again, I'm not making any excuses for the mistakes that I've made, because I take full accountability. Those were mistakes I made because I was choosing to put drugs over, people, places, and things, and people that matter to me, and I've done a lot of damage. But I also look at the totality of it and said, even in my worst days, I was always trying to do minimal damage. I was always trying not to hurt anybody else around me. I would throw myself under the bus to keep from having to steal from somebody, and I was always trying to be the best person I possibly could. So now that I've taken the drug addiction, this 800-pound gorilla off my back, and I've taken that same energy and tried to put it into being a better person, even though I'm already being a really good person, it's amazing today, guys. And a big part of that is my ability to keep a sense of humor. People look at me and go, Jesus Christ, you just came to that situation smiling. Like, I chose to sit there and not focus on the pain and the misery and, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. Instead, I sat there and looked and said, wow, look what I just did. I just showed myself how serious I am in my sobriety. I just sat there and advocated in a very polite and intelligent way to trained medical professionals who were telling me I was wrong, and I came up right in every bit of it. And then I proved my point by being the best patient I possibly could, and every one of them came up and shook my hand afterwards and said, hey, thank you, man, good for you, I'm really proud of you. I can see the courage of your conviction, and I can see you're on the right track. And that's amazing today, guys. And that's what happens constantly in my life, and every one of you can do these things, guys. It's about living intentionally, and it's about keeping a balance of all the good things. Guys, shit is going to happen. Life is going to happen, regardless. But when you stop and look at the lesson in it, and then you look for the opportunities to grow, and you literally accept that everything in this world is happening for your highest good, if you can find the proper perspective, and it's absolutely true, guys. This is not, woo-woo bullshit. This is literally how I live my life, and it's working unbelievably well. I am seriously blessed beyond, I've literally almost been brought to emotions a couple times this week about the outpouring of love and concern that I've been shown. The amount of people that have been willing to step up and help me out and make offers, say, come do this, I don't want to see you miss out on that. Guys, it's been shocking to me. Like, all these little things that I said between me and God, I want to find a community, I want to be a part of something, I want to feel like I'm contributing, I want to feel like I matter. All these things that I had that were such huge, overwhelming concerns of mine back just 5 months ago have been answered in the most beautiful way possible. Like, I look at my own video and the statements that I made. You look what my life's gonna look like a year or 6 months from now, and I had no idea. And it's beautiful. Like, I would not have guessed that the opportunities that I'm being given now were even remotely possible. And again, I don't say any of it to be in a bragger way. I'm saying it because this is the rewards for the actions that I've taken. And if you take the same actions, you're going to get the same rewards. Now, every situation is different, so it's going to be different details. But the end result and the overall theme will be the same. Where your attention goes, energy flows. If you choose to look at the good, if you choose to find the humor, you're going to get good results. You're going to be happy. If you choose to look at the misery, you're going to be miserable. It's as simple as that, guys. I hate to minimize these things, and I'm not trying to take away from anything anybody's going through. There's a lesson in everything, and we're all gonna face struggles, guys. That's life. That's the human condition. It's when you decide to take control of them and accept them in the best light possible and look for the lesson, then you don't have to repeat them. Then you can move on to bigger and better problems, and that's all growth and healing and expansion is. It's trading in a really shitty set of problems for a better set of problems. That's life. But you don't have to look at it that way. I choose to call my problems opportunities, and therefore they become opportunities. I choose to expect the best results instead of looking for the worst case scenario, because in the past when I looked for the worst case scenario, I found it every single time without fail. Today, I look for the best case scenario, and I find it without fail every single time. It may not be the way I expect, which is why I'm trying to let go of expectations. And of course, I got a plan for my future, and I got to look ahead, but I do so by looking at what's being presented to me today, instead of making something up in my mind that is just arbitrary, that I decide that I deserve, or I should have, or this is how I see it, because I understand that my way of seeing things was seriously askew. I thought I had the best grip on life, and I was so ass backwards. I was so out of alignment. I was so shoveling shit against the tide, and I thought I had like, what did I have? Everything has worked for me because in the very beginning, what I did was I literally, and guys, this sounded so funny when I said it to myself in rehab. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to literally do the opposite of every idea I have. And that sounded like something I was just being like self-deprecating, but at the time, that's what I needed. And I actually did it. I started paying attention to it and doing it. Okay, well, my instinct is to do this. Let's do the opposite and see what happens. Guys, sometimes you've got to experiment, right? Things aren't always so serious. When you're not happy with what you have, be willing to experiment. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Be willing to try the opposite. If you don't like the result that you're getting, well, then try doing the opposite action, and you might just get the opposite result. Even if it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's the best when it doesn't make sense. Because if things aren't working, then the way we're thinking of them is not right. So therefore, the correct answer is not going to make sense. Because we're looking at it wrong. And I don't say that to call anybody out. I'm using myself. But by being intentional and by being willing to learn, willing to listen, and willing to take action, particularly when it was uncomfortable, that's where the blessings come from, guys. That's where the growth is happening. And that's why my life is becoming something I'm willing to fight for. And that's something I've never done before. I never fought for myself. I never gave myself that much credit. I never thought any of it mattered. But you know what? All of it matters. It matters immensely. I matter immensely. Because now I see the difference that I can make. I get comments and feedback constantly that something I've said or something I posted helps somebody. And that means the world to me. Like, it makes me feel like $1 million. The fact that I was able to stand 10 toes down and prove, because at one point, guys, when 9 medical professionals are telling me you've never had surgery, you need these beds, I was starting to wonder. But thank God I stood on my convictions, right? I stayed strong in my knowledge. I just kept talking to God and going, God, I know I'm right. I know this is a bad idea. I know this is a test. I know I don't want drugs in my body. And now I've come through the other side of it. And clearly, I made the right decision. Because things are amazing again, right? Or managed to stay amazing. I literally just went through emergency surgery and had it come out and have it being a blessing. It was an absolute blessing because it gave me a comfort and a security in where I am in my program and what I'm willing and not willing to accept in my life that I've never had before. I was terrified. And, not that I dwell on it, but every so often I think, like, is this real? Is this new life of mine really real? Like, is this temporary? Am I going to make a fucking bad decision and go backwards? After this weekend, I know damn well not, because if that was going to happen, I can't imagine a more appropriate time for me to throw in the towel and accept drugs. And when this doctor's telling me, you have to take these drugs, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. I do not have to, because you don't know the monster that lives in my head. I do. I've met him. I don't want to see him again. I finally put him to rest, and I'm not looking to wake him up. And I proved my point, and it's beautiful. All right, guys, I'm starting to ramble on, so I'm just going to cut it there. That is the lesson, guys. See the humor, see the lesson, see the opportunities. Let go of expectations, but expect miracles. Let go of definitions that are self-imposed. Let go of limiting self-beliefs. Believe the best is what's going to happen, and more often than not, the best is what's going to happen. Simple as that, guys. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Always remember, God loves you. I love you so very much. Each and every one of you matters so much. And when we stand up and do the best we can together, we can make one hell of a fucking difference. And, what more noble cause is there than that? Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.